welcome back to your channel, or welcome if you're new. In today's What's for Dinner video, we're going to be making a lemon pasta with a garlic wine sauce. And here are the ingredients you're going to need for it. Some cherry tomatoes, some heavy whipping cream, some kosher salt, some black peppers over there, some olive oil, some garlic, some Parmesan cheese, of course the lemon, and of course the bottle of wine, some arugula, and some basil. I mean, they call for fresh basil, but at my Kroger, I couldn't find any fresh basil, and so that's fresh as I could get it. But to use this kind here. And this is just for at the end when you're garnishing the pasta, so I didn't think it would matter too much since you're just garnishing with it. And so, if you're ready, let's get started. The first thing you want to do here is cut up your cherry tomatoes. But you want to have your cherry tomatoes. You don't need too many. And I got this little glass here. I don't have any little bowls to put the cherry tomatoes into. And fun fact that I've never told any of you is that I actually went to school for culinary arts when I was in high school. And I also worked 40 hours a week when I was in high school, working at the local retirement home when I used to live in Twin Falls, Ohio, which is located near Cleveland, Ohio. And it's right outside of downtown, probably about 30 minutes from like downtown. If you were to take the bus, it'd be like 30 minutes to like 40 minutes to get downtown. And we were literally a straight shot to downtown Cleveland. And I'll be back as soon as the tomatoes are cut up. Now that the tomatoes are cut up, you're going to want to zest your lemon here. You want to get all your peel here for your zesting here. So get a little bowl so you can zest, again, use your grater or you can use a zester. Since I don't have a zester, I'm going to use the grater here to zest up my lemon. When you're zesting correctly, it should look like that and not be actually seeing the inside of the lemon. Because you don't want to use the big side here, no. You want to always use the little side here for your grating up there or zesting up, whatever you want to call it. Because you're more or less just grating it up, the skin of the lemon. And I'll be back as soon as it's done. I'm back, and now that you can see that I got the lemon all zested up, you're going to want to juice your lemon here. And here's a trick that we learned in school here to get the most of your juice out of your lemon. You want to sit here and you want to roll your lemon around if you don't have a juicer to get the juice out of a lemon or any citrus fruit. Here, just roll it around. And this will soften it up to make it easier to squeeze the lemon to get all the juices out of it. And it gets more juice out of it doing it this way. I'm going to roll it around on all sides just to make sure that you can get it just enough. The next thing you want to do is cut your lemon in half. See how much more pliable it is compared to if you weren't going to do that? See? You get like your little glass or your bowl, which I'm going to use a glass here for the lemon juice. And just squeeze out as much lemon juice as you can. Trying to avoid getting the seeds. Here. Well, I tried to avoid a seed. Oh, let me get a spoon here. Okay. Get a spoon here. Get rid of one seed here. Goodbye with that seed. Okay, then you use the other side here and do the same. Same thing you did before. Get out anything that seeds that you might have had in there. There I go. Well. Oh well. No. As you can see in here, that made a lot of lemon juice doing that, compared to as if you wouldn't have done it the other way. So I'll be back when we're ready to put the pasta in the pot, and I'll show you exactly how much water and everything that you need to get in there. So I'll be back. So what you want to do here is you want to add 4 quarts of water to your pot, or 16 cups of water, because you want to add 2.5 tablespoons of salt to it, and that comes out to equaling 16 cups of water. So you want to add your cup of water here, add your water, which I'm just going to measure out the water so I get it more exact, because I don't want to use too much water. One, or that's 8 cups of water there. That's 12 cups of water. And we're almost at the last one here. There's your 4 quarts of water, measured exactly. And I'll be back as soon as I'm ready to put it on the stove. Now you're going to want to do is turn on your burner for your water to high. Then you're going to want to salt your water here. Like I said, you're going to need 2.5 tablespoons of water. Of salt here. One. It may seem like a lot of salt, but in reality it's not really. 2. And here's the half. Because the rule here is 1 tablespoon for every 6 cups of water. So there's that added. So I'll be back once the water is boiling. I know I said I'd be back once it's boiled, but I want to give you a little tip here. Like if you were to have any salt sticking to the bottom, you can go and stir it and it will mix your salt into your water. That way you don't have your salt burning at the bottom of the pan or pot. What I mean to say, but still. Then you want to just let it come to a rolling boil before you add your pasta to it. You never want to add your pasta to the water before it's boiled. It just will not come out right if you don't let it boil. And I'll be back, like I said, when it's boiling. Okay, it's about ready to be boiling here. As you can see, the little bubbles are starting there. And now would still not be a good time to put your pasta in, because it would still mess up your pasta. You want to wait for it to be a rolling boil and not just the little bubbles like you see here. So as soon as it gets to its rolling boil, which it's about to, we're going to add the pasta to it, and I'll be right back when it's when it's doing its rolling boil. Doing its rolling boil. Yeah, couldn't spit it out. Okay, I'm back and it's almost to a rolling boil. And we're gonna wait here till it becomes a rolling boil, which is starting to right now. And we're gonna add the pasta to it. And you do not want to break the pasta in half. Like I know that some people do. Because the pasta was this length for a reason. And in Italy, they would literally feel like they want to shoot you if you break up the pasta. Because they don't do stuff like that over there in Italy when you're making an Italian dish. So, there's a rule of thumb whenever you're making pasta, which is any like a spaghetti, a fettuccine, or anything like that, you don't want to break up the pasta. Yes, it'll look like the pasta's hanging out the end, but it will eventually soften down and it will all eventually be in the water. And you want to get the water here turned down so that you don't have your pot overboiling over here. You don't want your pot to overboil here, so you definitely want to turn down your water. So I put it like a little bit past medium. That's where I usually put it. And you're going to want to cook this until it's tender but firm to the bite, and I'll show you what that looks like once it gets to that point. I'll be back. I forgot to mention that tender to the bite and firm means that you don't want your pasta to be soggy. You don't want to leave your pasta in there too long and then it just is all in there sticking like glue all to each other. And you do want to mix it around in there so it doesn't stick like glue like every few minutes until it's fully cooked. So I'll be back as soon as it's cooked. As the pasta's boiling here, which I wanted to come back and give you another fun fact, is that this recipe is made by a woman who was on Big Brother Canada named Cassandra Morris. I mean, that wasn't her name when she was on the show because she, after the show, got married. And the reason that she started making all these recipes and getting healthier in her life was because she gained 20 pounds or on the show. And you could see it in her that she gained all that weight, and you could see it in her face and everything. And social media was always making fun of her, and that's what made her realize that she was severely overweight and not needing to be that extra 20 pounds that she needed to get off. And I kicked her butt, and she's now down to a normal weight and got all that off, and she's now eating better, and she used to not even be able to cook. Because on Big Brother Canada, if you were to watch the reruns of those, which are now on Paramount Plus in the US, or on Global in Canada, you can see what she looks like now versus when she was on the show. And her Instagram handle is Cassandra, I believe it's Cooking with Cassandra. I believe that's her YouTube, that's her Instagram handle here. Yes, I'm correct. That's Cooking with Cassandra. If you wanted to check her out, and I will have a link to her Instagram in the description below, so that if you want to see any more stuff that she does, and I'll even have a link to her website and a recipe here, so you can check out even more of her recipes if you want to do them. And I do plan on in the future making more of her recipes, so you will be seeing more of her recipes. So we're going to be checking here to see how the pasta's doing. It's getting close. Let me just... Yes, it does stick a little because it wouldn't stick as bad if it wasn't gluten-free because the recipe called for gluten-free here, so it should be about ready. Close, but maybe about another a minute to a minute and a half, it should be done. So I'll be back when we're ready to do that. But the first thing you're going to want to do before we drain it is we're going to want to reserve 1 cup of the pasta water before you drain it. It doesn't matter if you get a little over in your measuring cup, because you can sit there and literally just drain off the excess that you don't need in your kitchen sink when you're draining off the pasta. So I'll be back when we're ready to scoop out the 1 cup of pasta water. Okay, so now we're going to be getting ready to drain it. But like I said, you want to reserve 1 cup of the pasta sauce. Doesn't matter if your cup is plastic, one of your glass ones, but I kind of recommend you using a plastic one, but the glass one might get pretty hot from the hot water here. You want to make sure you get the water and not the pasta into your cup here. So about, hey, I'm right on the money here. So next thing we're going to do is go drain the pasta, and I'll be back when I'm ready to do that. Okay, so now we're going to be draining the water from the pasta from the water. And yes, this is going to be very hot. You want to make sure you don't burn yourself up here. You're going to want to make sure that you drain that water off really good. Here. Just shake it. Now you're going to want to transfer that to a bowl, which I have here. Here, but I'm going to need to make sure I have my tongs here, so it makes it easier to grab out the pasta, to transfer it. As you can see, it might stick a little, but you can always break up the pasta here. If it's stuck really bad, you can just get that little section, and you don't have to use that one, because gluten-free pasta does like to stick to itself, so, which isn't the best in the world. I prefer to use regular pasta so it doesn't stick so bad, but for you guys, I'm just going to do it the way the recipe told me to. Okay, hang on. You gotta put that, dump the rest of the pasta into the bowl here. I'm going to want to put a little bit of olive oil on top of your pasta to help keep it from re-sticking to itself while we're over there cooking the sauce, which will be the next thing that we're going to do. So you just want a little bit. You don't want to drown it in there. You just want just enough. Then you want to toss it with your tongs and get it all coated. And you're going to want to leave it just sit here in your sink. And I got this little, see, gluten-free pasta, not my favorite. So now you see that this is all covered in the oil, and it should look like this. So you can see it up close. That's what it should look like when it's all coated in the oil. And now I'll be back when we're ready to make the sauce. Okay, the next thing I want to do is melt 2 tablespoons of salted butter. It can be any kind, like I got here, the Kerrygold. Make sure you give away all your paper. You want to make sure you have your temperature down low and not way too high up so your butter burns. You don't want to burn your butter. You want to add about 4 cloves of garlic. And you can use the pre-minced garlic too. You just want to estimate about how much you think is 4 cloves of garlic. Add a little bit more. I like a lot of garlic, so I may add a little bit more. Okay, got enough garlic there, and you don't want your garlic to burn. You just want to get it to turn orange, turn a little brown. You just want to brown it, but you don't want to burn it. Now for the temperature, I'd definitely put it like somewhere between low and medium. That way you're not going to burn this, because your sauce would definitely not taste good if your garlic and your butter is burned. See, cooking up this. See, we're cooking that there. Now we're getting ready to add the. Okay, but see in the recipe here what it told me to do over here. It starts turning golden, then we want to add the wine and the lemon juice. And for the wine, you're going to need about a half a cup of wine here. So I'll get the wine over here. First you want to add the wine. Next you want to add your lemon juice. Like so. And you want to simmer it for 3 to 5 minutes. Because what you're doing here is you're burning off the alcohol from the wine. So I'll be back once it's simmered. Hey, I'm back, and now you're going to want to add in your 1 cup of pasta water that you reserved and set off to the side. You're going to want to stir that in. And if you don't want to use a whisk, you can use your spoon, but I just find it's easier to make a sauce using the whisk. Okay, you want to stir that in. Next you want to add your Parmesan cheese, which is, and you want to add about 1/3 a cup of Parmesan cheese. It's supposed to be freshly grated, but they didn't have no block of Parmesan cheese, so I couldn't grate my own cheese. So I have to use whatever I could find. Now you want to mix it. Now you want to stir in your cheese. Here, I believe that's what the recipe says. Yes, you want to stir it until the cheese is melted. Which shouldn't take very long since these aren't strands of cheese. So I'll be back when the cheese is melted. As you can see now, the cheese is all melted in. Now you're going to want to add your heavy whipping cream, which is 1/4 a cup. You can use a spoon or a spatula to get out the rest of your heavy whipping cream here. Okay. Now you're going to want to add your lemon zest to it. You zested up earlier. Okay, a little spoon probably a little bit easier. Okay, now you want to let this go for 1 more minute here. Get this to be about 1 minute here. So I'll set a timer here for 1 minute. And the microwave. Alright, got a minute here. And here you can go ahead and add a little bit of your black pepper to it, because I didn't exactly tell you when to add it, so you add a little bit now to your sauce. A little bit of pepper. Now, I like a lot of pepper, so yeah, a little bit of pepper to your sauce. Got about 3 seconds here. There, we're done. You can see, you want to turn off your stove here. And I'll be back when I'm ready to pour the sauce onto the pasta. Now you're going to want to add your sauce to your pasta. Now you're going to want to mix up your pasta with the sauce. You want to just completely coat it. I don't know if this is what they meant. I'll be back once it's fully coated. I'm back and I got the pasta all coated in the sauce. Now you're going to want to put it on your plate. Just enough for 1 serving. Should be about 2 ounces of pasta per serving. And each box should hold you about 6 servings. You can add a little bit more if you're a little bit more hungry, but I wouldn't add too much because of the calories in your pasta here. See, a little bit more here, more, okay, okay. Here's your pasta, and now you want to add your basil, which I got my basil over here. I got my basil right here. To it. See, it's still kind of fresh here, but it's not really the kind that they wanted. They want you to have the whole leaf sitting on top. So I sprinkle a little bit of. That's about enough. And you want to put a little bit of your arugula on top. Put as much as you like on here. Take a little bit more, so I like arugula. Then you want to add your tomatoes. And in their picture, they showed 5 tomatoes. But for me, I just say add as many as you like to it. Now, they said if you like, you can add a little bit more Parmesan cheese on top. Sprinkle on a little bit more Parmesan cheese. Well, didn't know I sprinkled too well. Well, that's good enough. There's Parmesan cheese on top. And next I'll be back for the taste test. Hey, I'm back for the taste test. And you can serve this if you want to with a glass of your wine that you have left over. And for the taste test, I'm not going to do that. I want to get a little bit of everything here. A little bit of arugula, a little bit of the basil, the pasta, and the tomato. Now this is really good. Good. I mean, if you like a light, refreshing sauce that's not way too heavy, yes, I mean, it can be a little heavy for some people with the heavy whipping cream and the butter and stuff in it, but it's really good. And if you like this type of pasta, you will really like it. If you like a vegetarian style pasta here, which doesn't have no meat or anything on it, and it's really, really good. And I think you will definitely enjoy it. So this concludes my video here. So if you like this type of content, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember to press that notification bell. Thanks for watching.